The lake is on fire! Ah! .3 miles, 8 minutes, 53 seconds per mile in -4° or -20° weather today. Very, very cold, but an absolutely beautiful day to get out there running. I was covered, as you saw, head to toe, as much as I could wear. I was wearing as much as I wore for the 13 miles I ran for the half marathon over the weekend, which was substantially warmer. But the difference was I wore an additional puffy vest on top, and instead of the regular balaclava that I had a fleece balaclava that my wife had gotten for me, as well as the high visibility vest that she had gotten. My wife had originally got me these things because they were bright yellow, highly visible. She was worried about me potentially getting mistaken for wild game while I was running back in Iowa. But it happened to be a lot warmer for at least the headgear, and I figured if something, God forbid, were to happen to me, at least hopefully people might see me drop, or they'd at least see me where I was in case someone had to come find me. Fortunately, it did not come to that. Hopefully that was just a little bit of an overreaction, but it is definitely indeed cold here. I posted on Instagram my -4° temp in my Instagram story, and people were like, isn't it colder there? And yes, it is. The official cold temp for the high in Chicago was -10°, which is -23 and change Celsius. It was indeed pretty chilly with the winds when they did kick up. It was gusty. Fortunately, for the most part, while I was out there in the parts that I was running, I didn't feel too much of that wind gust, but when I did feel it, man, it just cuts through all of your layers like a knife, and the cold just gets directly to your body. It's amazing how incisive that cold wind can be, and it definitely hurt. Fortunately, it wasn't too bad today, but the city didn't fare quite so well. It took quite a beating today. Lots of infrastructure starting to fail. Water mains are breaking like all over the place. Construction crews are out just 2 blocks away on the way from my house to the park. I tried to get footage of it on the way back, but the GoPro froze at about 50 minutes, 55 minutes into being outside in this weather. But I've definitely seen other water mains breaking. You hear lots of stories about that, which is just, to me, a tremendous disaster, having uncontrollable gushing water pouring into the street in temps like this. Just I'm glad that it's not my job to take care of something like that. The cable is also out. RCN seems to be doing fine, but Comcast, our cable has been in and out most of the day, so I've been trying to upload when I can, but it's also been really hard because the girls are home from school, there's no school, no daycare, and I have to try and explain to them why we can't skip ads when we're watching TV. We have an HD antenna. I mean, they've seen them, they know what they are, but they get frustrated after a while and they forget that they're not watching YouTube or Netflix. So it's been a little bit of a difficulty for them. Everyone sacrifices in this cold in a different way. But in addition to that, mail service, even though the U.S. Postal Services pride itself on neither rain nor sleet nor whatever the rest of that poem goes will ever stop the U.S. postal mail, there was no U.S. mail service yesterday in Chicago. And as far as I know, that's the first time that's ever happened. And there was also very limited commuter rail service. So all the commuter rails that bring all the people from the suburbs into the city of Chicago, most of those lines were shut down. They do try to maintain those tracks, and apparently to do that, they have to set them on fire. But even that wasn't enough, and so they canceled a lot of train lines. I think for Thursday they'll be up and running, but still some of the ones that are coming from further out where it is a little bit colder when you don't have the temperature buffer of the lake to kind of moderate things. When you get further out, it gets even colder, and so it's harder to maintain those tracks. We also apparently had cold quakes in Chicago, which is just the sound of the earth shriveling up, apparently, and making loud booms across Chicago. I haven't heard that, but lots of people have been reporting it on Instagram and to the news. So definitely a cold day. Not the coldest day that I've ever run in. Negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit is the coldest I've ever run, according to whatever I have like on my watch or on my phone. And that was last year, I think. I don't know if it was at my in-laws' house or when we were up in Wisconsin over by Lake Geneva, a little bit further north. That was the coldest temperature that I've ever run. And so I've run in colder for about that long, but that's about as long as you can take. I've had worse runs where I've run in temperatures that weren't quite so cold, but around that 0 degree mark or in the single digits, where I've tried to go longer and I maybe wasn't warm enough. And I've definitely felt, not frostbite, that's never the thing that worries me. It's my head getting too cold, and then the blood flow doesn't work right, and it's kind of like an oxygen deprivation situation. That's when things get really scary. I fortunately didn't have any of that today, and I was able to avoid that by staying nice and warm with the extra warm gear that my wife had bought for me. And the additional bonus that I had was my absolute favorite weather phenomenon is when like steam is coming off of a lake, and I just love it. That's one of my favorite things to see, and whether I'm running or just going for a walk by the lake, when that happens is definitely something I always try to capture because it's just so surreal. It's just like being on another planet, and I just love running in those kinds of conditions. Tomorrow, though, is another question. I thought tomorrow might be a record-breaking day in terms of lows or highs, and I had some meetings that I was originally supposed to go to, so I was going to have to run in the morning. So at that point, it would have been like negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and would have definitely been a personal record for me in terms of cold. But that meeting got moved to another day. I think tomorrow I'm going to go for a run on the treadmill. I'm still battling this cold a little bit. A lot of the jump cuts that you're seeing in the video are because I have to take a minute to cough a little bit. It's usually not so bad, except for when I'm talking is the only real time when my throat starts to bother me. So still fighting the last remnants of this cold. I've been fighting it. I feel like it's one of those things that's just going to be around. It's going to be kind of my winter companion from here on out. But tomorrow, hopefully as a way of just being a little bit more reasonable, I'm going to hit the treadmill and take a little bit of respite from these Arctic cold weather. I know a lot of you guys have been commenting you run in colder weathers, and that's amazing. I'm not trying to take away anything from you guys. Those of you who are running up further north, Wisconsin, Minnesota, in the Dakotas, you guys are incredible. I'm definitely impressed and have a great appreciation for what you guys are doing. Before I go for today, I want to talk about today's charity runner. Today's charity runner for the day is Duy Nguyen. He's going to be running the Run Across Haiti, which I believe that's our second Run Across Haiti runner that I've spotlighted on the channel. And what that is, it's a run across Haiti for the charity organization called Work. And that group hopes to fight poverty in Haiti by helping Haitians find meaningful and dignified employment opportunities. I've donated $10 to Danny's cause, and if you want to learn more or join me, I'll post a link in the description down below. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Stay warm out there if you are in a cold area, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?